Hello everyone, this is a kind of impromptu video, but I thought I would share some of the updates on the weapons, sort of as mentioned in my previous overall project update. Originally I was going to go over every single weapon, but I realized as I started to polish some of them off that they are quite subject to change. So I figure what I'll do is I'll show off the 4.5 that I have currently in a pretty good state. 3.5 of them are pretty close to being done. I'd say like 95%, and then one of them is more like 70% done. But why don't we dive in and check it out? So added a new map to the build, which is updated on itch, by the way, if you're interested, called the weapon range. And this will be populated with the weapons as they go. I removed the old weapon tutorial since it was incredibly not useful and very poorly put together. You know, so you crack open the weapon range and you're brought here. And real quick, I'm just going to increase my field of view because I'm one of those people. So you're brought here to the weapon range, which is, you know, very normal and average if you're used to weapon range from another game. And here are the 4 weapons that are present, as well as, you know, power-ups in case you wanted to test that out. And over here is the half, so we'll get to that in a minute. So first things first, I've got the Maverick in, and you'll have to forgive the animations. They're not, some of them are a little bit incomplete right now. You'll see the hands snapping around. The Maverick, of course, is your starter weapon. It's the starter pistol, but that doesn't mean it doesn't pack a punch. It does a fairly good amount of damage, and of course, it's fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. The alternate fire holds up a shield, and that shield can deflect incoming damage. And you can then project the shield out if you fire while you have it out, and that has a knockback effect. Primarily useful against enemies. But in addition to that, you can also aim it at your feet for a bit of a boost. So this is my answer to, for example, Unreal Tournament's hammer jumping or Quake's rocket jumping. Not that you can't do that here, but the rockets are quite deadly. So this is, especially when you're starting off, this gives you a boost of mobility, a boost of defense, and a little bit of damage to help. You can even hear there, as your ammo gets low, the gun starts to clink. All temporary sound effects, completely, by the way, so don't worry about that. By the way, I have little bullet casings that come out. All kinds of fun. The second weapon on show is the bolt. So the bolt is the lightning rifle. It's sort of your classic hit scan, and I say that in quotation marks because technically everything in this game is a projectile, but very fast moving projectile, basically hit scan. Sort of precision DMR weapon, so it shoots out a bolt of lightning. Let's gather some more ammo for that. And you can see there is also diegetic ammo information on the weapon itself, which is something I'm rather proud of. And the alternate fire shoots these orbs, which have a small amount of splash damage, but have a higher rate of fire. And of course, in classic fashion, if you shoot it, it turns into a large field that moves forward and does considerable amount of damage to those boxes, as you can see. But it does consume additional ammunition to do so. It's not a freebie, so each shot typically takes 1 ammo, but when you combine them, I think it takes 5 or 4. And by the way, that this effect can be reversed on you. So if you shoot a ball at someone who's also armed with a bolt and they shoot it, they're just going to send the field back at you. So be wary of that. The third weapon on show is the Shredder, which is the sort of shotgun circa flat cannon kind of weapon for the game. So of course it's got a spread shot that shoots out shrapnel that bounces around. The inspiration is laid on thick here, as you can tell. And its alternate fire lobs a shell that explodes on impact and sends shrapnel flying. The third fire for this weapon is a combo. So you'll notice when I shoot the shell, you hear a click. That click is the activation. If before the shell fires, you press the primary button, you tighten the spread. So you'll see here, that's normal, that's tightened. So it gives you the ability to play with ranges, because you don't always want the tightest spread, right? Sometimes you want this wide spread, particularly when you're like right next to something. But if you're at a bit of a distance and you're just peppering an enemy, right, you can lob the shrapnel in a much tighter spread toward them. Soften them up with some artillery. And this, of course, has a nice big chunky shell that comes out of it as well when you fire. And the final weapon, which is primarily not complete, it's about 70% complete, is the minigun. As you can obviously tell that it looks much worse because it hasn't had its texture pass or any of that additional detail done to it. But primary fire is more of a wind-up, so it fires out immediately but takes a second to get to full tilt. I should probably get more ammo. So this is sort of good for a long range, and it's fairly accurate within the crosshair, right, as you can see. And it leaves just a comical amount of bullet shells behind, by the way. The alternate fire, the secondary fire, is if you hold down the right mouse button, it will begin winding up for its chain gun attack. So it has to fully wind up first, but then the rate of fire is doubled, but the accuracy isn't the best. And of course, those wind-ups are not interruptible, so that's a bit of the risk-reward here, right? Is if I decide I want to do that, and I just tap the button, and by the time it's fully wound up, I'm not firing, I still need to wait for it to wind down. And the third fire is the blast shot, which is sort of a shotgun stand-in. So if while firing the primary, you hold the alternate, it fires more like a rapid-fire shotgun with extremely poor accuracy. This is really meant to be a very close quarters last-ditch effort. Yeah, accuracy is very bad. But, you know, that's 10 rounds when you're right next to someone. Very effective. So those are the three sort of unique, I call them core roster weapons. They're standard weapons, right? The extra .5 over here is the Instagib Rifle, which is just a variant on the bolt. And the Instagib Rifle, of course, is for the ever-famous Instagib style mode, common in most arena shooters, where the gun instantly kills anything that it hits. It has a slower rate of fire than the bolt, no alternate fire, but that is the point. It's all flick shot precision, which, as you can tell, I am comically bad at. And it's got a unique look to it. It's got a red coloring, it's got different effects on it, and it's got the distorted interface on the little screen there. And yeah, that is the current roster of weapons. Worth noting, something I forgot to mention in the update video, but that's is kicking. So if you press the F button on your keyboard or the middle mouse button, both of those will kick. And you can kick physical objects. It does do damage, but it's mostly a knockback thing. And I suppose the final thing to show is, of course, you can see there the leg and hands. It's easiest to see the hands with the Maverick out. But the leg and hands of one of the player characters has been implemented. I've been working a lot on that process. So hopefully this has shown you a little bit of the weapon variety. It's very minimal, but I've been trying to hit the different ones. So sort of basic ballistic weapon. Actually started with the bolt because it's sort of an energy weapon, something that shoots a spread shot, has explosive, and then a weapon that has a lot of moving parts to it, right? So each of these are helping me learn how to animate them and how to do all these different things. So there will be more to come as weapons are sort of added, at least to this state that the minigun is currently at. They will be populated into here, and next time there's another chunk of weapons to show off, I will make another video explaining those. So thank you so much for watching. I know this was not nearly as polished as my typical videos on Altfire, but I just wanted to showcase some of the functional weapons that I have in the game currently. Until the next update or the next weapon update, I will see you later. Take care.